Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching GEEKCASTER. Everything sci-fi, fantasy, geek culture. I'm Michael, and we've got in the virtual studio
Sorcerer Supreme, Dayveonne Bussey. I don't know what the heck I'm doing.
Everyone's best friend, Corey Davis.
Phoenix Sparks.
All right, you're watching GEEKCASTER, and we've got some cool stuff today. Corey, what is on the hit list for our topics of discussion?
So, we are going to be talking about Moon Knight, we're going to be talking about SnowFall, and we're also going to be talking about Adam Project with possibly a tech segment.
Nice. Let's do it. So let's start out with Moonlight, because I'm hearing mixed reviews on this.
Moon Knight.
Moon Knight. What'd I say?
Moonlight.
The Oscar winning movie? All right, so Moon Knight. So what do you guys think of Moon Knight?
I'll say mine for last.
And hopefully with your mic a little louder, you could say that. Say that for last, mister. Okay, Corey, you kick it off.
I thought that the first episode was decent. I hated the second episode. The third episode and fourth, I'm not that interested. I do watch it for the Egyptian lore because I think that's interesting. Mm-hmm. But Oscar Isaac's character, I really could care less for. So I'm on the fence about the show. I'm going to keep watching to see what happens next, but I'm not that invested.
And you know what? I would like to just cut in right there with Corey because I feel the same way. I'm just not that invested. I feel the first episode, I see what they were trying to do to get the audience as disorientated as the main character. At least that's what I'm thinking. And I appreciate that. But there's a fine line between doing that and just like, okay, you're confusing me to the point I don't know if I'm invested. And I felt like I invested so much time and didn't go anywhere. I actually felt the second episode was a little better, but I feel, again, to stretch out these episodes, I feel like you have to have a certain amount of episodes, and they just put it a little too thin for me. What are you saying, Phoenix?
I think the creators of the show really tried to make the first couple episodes as exciting as possible because, like many other Marvel characters, or I should say unlike, we haven't really seen any movies or shows about Moon Knight. It's kind of a new character for most people. Mm-hmm. So I think they were trying to be impactful, but I think it was an attempt to disorient the audience to try and make it like you're in Moon Knight's shoes. You understand where his head's at.
So I will basically say this. If you read the comic book, you basically know who Moon Knight is. He's pretty much a ball of confusion. He has three personalities. He is basically resurrected by an Egyptian god. So the way Disney handled it with the first episode, they want you to get an understanding that he's not just one personality. He is two personalities in the particular episode. When we go into the show later, we may get his third personality because you start to understand a little bit more about what is really going on with what is really going on in the Egyptian lore of what he does.
Right.
And I get everybody's confusion, but you have to actually, I think it's due time everybody can get to know who he is.
I don't think that's the issue because we've had plenty of movies and characters who have multiple personalities. Like the best one recently was James McAvoy's character in Split. Everyone loved it. You understand that people with multiple identity disorders have like different emotions and quirks But his character is Steven. I hated him. He's just annoying. He got
Well,
on my nerves.
but that was the whole main point. You're basically got this quirky museum worker who pretty much knows a lot about the ancient history and Egyptian history, the lore and everything else and the stuff, but you have to start out with somebody soft, and that's what Disney used that motive, like to play off with the easy individual compared to going with the hardcore group, because I really feel as though if Disney would let it be a rated R product, I think it would be more exciting. But because Disney is so watered down that they're afraid to basically pull the trigger, this is what we have. But so far, it is kind of decent. It's really not that bad, but I see where everybody's going with it. Like they saying they're pushing it, but it's not enough.
Actually, no, I'm not saying that at all. I think it's very plain as three personalities from the very first episode. I'm not confused at all. It's the attempt to. It's actually pretty simple. If you're, I don't know if you guys are consumed, but I just find like the story ability. I feel that I didn't really get that much. I feel like episode 1 and 2 could have been one episode.
Okay.
Let's just move it along, kind of, and just get to where you're going. Okay, you're going to confuse us. Who's really bad? Who's really good? Who's the evil one? I'm thrown into this. I don't know what's going on. You're playing with time and memory. You see how quickly I said that? That's how that episode should have rocked out.
Right. Okay.
They stretched it too much.
Disney created a nerdy character that made other nerds angry, and it's just a terrible attempt and execution. They could have done a better job. That's what we're saying.
But to be honest with you, if you look at the comic book, Steven is a philanthropist billionaire. He never was the nerdy, geeky guy that works at the museum gift shop.
So that would have been better. You're selling our point that they...
No. And I agree with you on that. But the way Disney does it, knowing it, is because they don't want it to push that rated R aspect, because it's a little bit like if you really push the actual comic, it gets dark. It's a dark character. Right. That's just like Blade. Blade is a dark character. So
I don't think I'm not questioning the darkness.
Yeah.
I'm just questioning the ability to tell a story seems to be lacking. That's just my opinion. I don't know.
No, it's cool. And you're right. Like maybe it's Disney. Disney's trying to.
The answer isn't always go darker. In fact, it's funny. We did a older show, maybe like 2 years ago, when we were questioning like Batman and the future of Marvel and DC and superhero movie. What do? We give him black outfits. Like that's like the go-to. Make all the costumes dark. Or well, if there's red and blue and yellow, we'll make it gold and dark red. And, this makes it more gritty and more real. Like, no, it's all fairy tales and make-believe. You just got to have a really good script. Because look at Deadpool. Deadpool's wearing bright red.
Yeah, so they don't see him bleed. So, yeah.
And transition. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is SnowFall. Now, Corey, you put everybody onto this. Why did you say check out SnowFall, and what's your take on it?
I thought that the premise of the show took a very well-known story that we've all heard, we've all seen before. We've just never seen it depicted in a series, and the actual beginning of the crack epidemic and how it was funded and how it was pushed in America. We've gotten a different take. Is not just your regular, this is the drug aspect. They went to the business side of it and showed you the literal beginnings of how the crack epidemic was born and how it spread through America.
Right.
Phoenix, your eyes, you lit up there. Did you have some sort of emotion when you were watching this?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the show did a really good job at allowing anyone to engage with the emotions as if you've lived through it yourself. and all the character archetypes and personalities and dynamics and issues within the hierarchies. I thought the show did a really good job at portraying that. So I was really hooked and invested, I think, emotionally.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that was the purpose of the show because John Singleton, who unfortunately passed away, this was his last project. And he took elements of his life and his experiences of seeing the crack epidemic birth in his neighborhood of LA and created such an engaging show. So that element is definitely there, and everyone who watches the show can definitely feel and see it.
Right. And I agree with both of y'all because the show is very impactful, and it's basically brought like a lot of thought into comparison to certain people in the urban community compared to the actual show that he created. So we're only seeing one side of the picture, and in the show you're seeing multiple sides and different elements. So
yeah. It took me a minute to be honest with that first episode. To like, Corey, we've seen this before. The tropes, the images, but as it went on, I understood like the director's choices that he made as far as the different shots. There's drug use, there's nudity, but I didn't feel like it's used the way a lot of the shows on certain cable networks. We won't mention certain shows where the first 5 minutes is a sex scene, the first 10 minutes, like every show, and it's really just almost like some sort of like drug candy to get people to keep watching the show. Everything had a purpose, I felt. And it really, like you said, created that world building for the first season. So I like that. I agree 100% on that. All right, let's go to something fun. Dayveonne's homeboy. Yes, the one and only. But I'll let Dayveonne start this out with Adam Project. Go ahead.
Adam Project.
Starring who?
Starring man of the hour.
His
The
man
love
crush.
of your life.
Of all time. Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. Go
Did you
for
say
it.
Brian Reynolds?
No, Ryan.
I thought you said Brian.
You thought you said Brian?
Ryan.
Who's Brian Reynolds? He's a twin.
That's his long lost twin name we don't speak of.
So what'd you think of Adam Project?
It was very interesting. I did like the concept. I loved the really, to be honest with you, the little boy stole the whole movie. I'm going to be honest. He actually played Ryan Reynolds' younger self to a T. Like, if I saw Ryan Reynolds as a younger person, that would be that kid. But as far as story-wise, it was good. Good special effects. Love the fight scenes. Love the little time travel moments. Love the fatherly time moments as well. But at the end, it was a good film. It was good.
Why
It's
is your
Ryan
voice keep
Reynolds.
getting... You are blushing.
He is.
Talk about a man crush.
Ryan Reynolds.
He's like we went through time with different versions of Ryan Reynolds. It's not just one. There was multiple.
All right, so everyone else that's sensible and not going Google Gaga for Ryan Reynolds, what did you guys think of Adam Project?
That's Ryan Reynolds.
Had something for everyone, right? You had sci-fi, you had a little drama and romance story going on in the background, some action. I mean, I like any movie that gives you, or anything that gives you a chance to just like escape from a reality a little bit. And I felt like this was one of those. I mean, there were relatable components too. So yeah, it was cool.
I feel like this should have been in the movie theaters because it was very original. It was impactful. It captured your attention the entire film. I just felt as though Netflix does a really good job at creating movies that we're interested in. I just wish it were on the big screen. I think it would have made that movie that much better if it was in the actual movie theaters.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest, some of the reasons why the Netflix stock went down. But I mean, I believe it will go back up, but I feel that it showed how volatile their business structure is as a company. That for the first time, you can't look at it as just, oh, this will just last forever and it'll just be stable forever. Um, but and we'll talk about that. We can throw that in the tech segment. But just to end on Adam Project, I feel it was really good. I feel it's several movies all put together because I've seen so many movies. I don't feel it's an original combination, but if you look at it definitely reminded me of several different films, and we actually should do an episode of the several films of all the movies that came out recently, how they're all tropes to those, or not tropes, but they're all odes to those films. I think that would be great. But special effects was great. It was there were tender moments. The romance thing, I get it. That was good. I think you're right, Phoenix, that it had something for everybody. It was like a good cooked meal. I'm glad I didn't see it in the theater. I think I would be pickier if I saw it in the theater.
Really?
I think it was a great
Really?
home movie. Yeah, because I think I would go in like, wow, who's this wife and how come this? I think I would have nitpicked a little bit more if I had to drive, get popcorn, get something to drink, pay that money, sit down. You don't think so?
No, this was the best chick flick movie with guy elements that I've ever seen in my life. I would have loved to see this on the big screen. If you saw this on the big screen and walked out, you would not have been disappointed.
Yo, I see Phoenix's face. Her face is priceless right now.
Is this a good chick flick? Would you want somebody to take you to see this? No. Like, it wasn't that serious, right? It's like, no.
This is the first time I see her frown her face like
I've
that.
never seen you have that facial thing ever.
Expression or frown, like it's like
You're muted, by the way.
Yeah.
But that was in fact, this whole show is just about that expression on Phoenix. I think that was it. We
should make a GIF out of that face and watch it go.
Like, what do you think about that?
No. But it was awesome.
We're talking about Morpheus again? Ooh.
Too soon?
It was shots fired.
Too soon. Do we have some shots we could? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And we can bring that back. Yes. Yes. Shots fired on that. All right. Well, since I brought it up, let's talk about it. Netflix lost a lot of support and steam because they announced they wanted to crack down on all the people sharing accounts, different logins, as well as coming out with a cheaper version that will also have commercials.
Yeah.
Do you feel that that's a step? Well, first of all, do any of those things bother you? And
yes.
Why? Yeah.
Yes. Commercials, really? Like, you basically in a sense, it makes sense since you lost that money because of certain countries basically had an issue with Netflix. I think it was Russia because the Netflix was something with Netflix and Russia, something happened. Mm-hmm. I think it was the war. And they lost all their subscribers due to that situation. Commercials, I get it in a business standpoint, but as far as people used to not get into commercials and we just watch the shows or the movies, mm-hmm. You basically going to drive your audience away because if that's the case, we might as well watch Hulu.
You said a cheaper version, though, with
yeah, because ads. The last couple months, I would say twice in the last 4 months, Netflix has risen their prices. Mm-hmm. Even if you have that bundle where your phone company kind of threw in Netflix, all of a sudden now you're paying for it. I'm one of those people, you get Netflix free forever. Next thing you know, you're paying $2. Okay, mm-hmm. All right. You did say forever free. Mm-hmm. T-Mobile. But, okay. then all of a sudden it's $4. Like, wait a minute, what's happening here? Like, so people are getting upset. So, but between that and all the people kind of like logging in and sharing, they said, well, maybe if we come up with a cheaper version, that you can still get great Netflix, but now you got to pay for commercials. But I don't know how that would totally work, because Netflix changed the game where people don't want to watch commercials anymore.
Exactly.
Well, from a business perspective, from a few perspectives, it's more accessible in a way if people are given the option to pay less and watch ads, because we all grew up with ads. We all remember watching regular TV with regular ads.
I'm too young for that, but go ahead.
I'm not that young. But also with the economy, I know you said the stock had come down a bit. I mean, the stock market is awful. We're in a bear market, and a lot of the stocks are not doing well right now. So I feel like if you look at that relatively, they have to make an adjustment with inflation and everything, and putting out more specials and more special Netflix exclusive movies, right? They have to make up the difference somewhere.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
I look at it like this. The intent of the company is going to drive your bottom line. When Netflix first basically took over Blockbuster and you didn't have to go to a store, we sent you the movies that you wanted to watch. Great. And as we became a streaming service, Netflix was like, you know what? Now you get to choose your titles. And now we're in the tiered system where you pay a certain price to get the service that you want. Spotify, it's great. But I don't think Netflix, that's not your business model. And that's why people are backing off, because the pandemic showed us that corporations are trying to get as much money as possible for whatever they can. And you've seen that. Now they are like, okay, no more pass code sharing. We're going to start cracking down on that. And that's, I think, a big reason why people are losing their revenues. Right. And when you look at other good companies, like Elon Musk just bought out Twitter, Twitter stock went up because of the intent. And we know why he purchased Twitter and what he's doing with that. With Netflix, we don't really know what they're doing. We just know we're at a point that they're trying to recover from the pandemic. They're trying to get as much money off the general public as possible. And we have the option now to say, yeah, we can go with that, or no. And that's the general census. No, and it's a bad thing for Netflix.
Right.
So you think they're going to back out of those decisions?
I think once they start seeing subscribers log off and join Hulu, Peacock, Paramount, all these other cheaper services that do offer minimum, if at all, some ads during movies, I think they'll back off.
I mean, they could. I mean, that's the thing. Is it worth it to keep raising the price, but people leave? Why don't you just don't raise the price no more, or even bring it down? Surprise you're basically your clients, right? I mean, we're technically clients.
That's the thing. That's what Phoenix was saying with inflation and the prices that these businesses take to run their business. As things go up, they have to make up that money somewhere.
Gotcha.
But raising your prices every other year, that's just a terrible business model and practice. And the American public is not that dumb where we're like, why are they raising prices all of a sudden? Is it the pandemic? Is inflation? We know what you're doing. Right. Why are you trying to make it seem like this is okay?
Right.
No, that makes
so do we think Netflix is just greedy?
Most corporations are greedy. Because that's the whole point, right?
Well, when you're giving a lot of stars a whole chunk of money up front, and I question their... Okay, so for instance, Adam Project, that was great. Mm-hmm. That's actually one of the greatest things that they've put out that was under the Netflix banner. It's almost interesting, like it's almost sad that it opened up great and it's really done as a story, because you'd almost want to see a part two because it was done so well. Of course, they own that property, but there's only so much you can do with it. But they tend to give a lot of comedy specials and a lot of movies just to own stuff. Like, I don't know, I could run up a bunch of names, but you just look at some of the top A-listers that have production companies that have put out stuff in the last 2 years, and you're like, wow, I'm disappointed. So glad it wasn't in a theater because it wouldn't be able to hold up. Well, Netflix, like, stick to really good content, original content. Better you, instead of giving this person 20, 30, 80 million up front, why don't you get originals, great stories? There's tons of content creators. Here's 5 million, do something wonderful. You know what I mean? Spread it out and actually advertise, because that's a problem too. A lot of people didn't even know Adam's Project came out.
Ryan Reynolds did a big portion of that by showcasing why he chose this kid to play a younger version of him. He literally recited Deadpool.
Yeah. And everybody saw that. That promoted the project. You know?
And don't be surprised if this kid shows up at Deadpool 3 as Kid Deadpool.
Ryan Reynolds is going to keep him...
He's going places.
Yeah, he's going places. And he was a Ryan Reynolds fan as a kid. And it, like, organically, like, he was just a huge fan. So, like, he's good for life.
And he kind of looks like Ryan Reynolds. Can we...
Maybe he's his past self. I'm just saying.
Maybe he's his illegitimate son.
Maybe it wasn't a movie at all. Maybe we saw a peek into the alter universe. I'm sorry. Let's go.
All right, what is everybody's social media?
Dayveonne Bussey on all the things except for Twitter.
Corey Davis, you can find me at IamGT3 on all of the things.
Phoenix Sparks _official on Instagram and Twitch.
And I'm Michael7Michael. That's the number 7. Michael7Michael on IG. You can go to GeekCaster.com. You can check us out on YouTube. You can go to GeekCaster Network on Facebook. And listen, if you're watching us on cable, thank you for your support. And if you're not, if you're seeing this on IG, thank you for your support. Please share, let people know. If you're interested in being a guest on our show, send us a direct message and let us know what topic or things you want to promote or talk about. We would love to have you. And everything sci-fi fantasy. Thank you so much for watching us, and we will continue to give you the truth, Ruth. And we will continually have shows where Dayveonne says, "What's your tagline? I'm not lying." What do you say? What do you say all the time?
Let me tell you the truth. No, lie to us.
Yeah.
Some weird.
Something like that. And Corey will continue to say all the things.
All the things.
And now
let's
Netflix. End the show doing the new trademark of the show, Phoenix Sparks.